So guess what happens in humans? You're seeing those people, they retire, they go home, they sit on their couch, and then brain and muscle goes down. And 2 to 3 years, I see them in clinic with 10,000 medical problems. So our body evolved to move. So use it or lose it. Sitting isn't new smoking. There was a research study from Australia that each additional hour of television watching on average a year or so significantly increase the risk of mortality. So the longer the time you just have a sedentary life, the higher the chances. And there are a lot of different reasons, right? Most of the time when we are sitting, we are inactive, we are not, our muscles are not contracting, and it's putting unusual pressures on our bones and veins and stuff like that. John F. Kennedy had said a really good quote that we are an under-exercised as a nation. We look instead of play. Like I have had people, they come and tell me that they're really into football. I say, oh, wow, you're really into football. It doesn't look like it, but tell me what position you play. I say, I don't play. I just watch football. I'm so into it. So I feel like telling them that you're not into football, you are into watching TV. So, so you're confusing two things. Being into football is actually playing the sport and not just merely watching it. Now you occasionally watch a game here and there. That's okay, but then we should still keep in our mind that we are not playing the game. We are just watching it. So we are into watching TV and not into playing a game. We ride instead of walk. Unfortunately, we don't have a easy access to walkable places. So how we create our environment around us has a huge impact on amount of physical activity we get. We have technologized physical activity out of our life. We have made things so simple. We have a dishwasher and washer and dryer. Now we have this floor cleaning robots like Roomba and stuff like that. The amount we are doing everything possible to move as less as possible. And evolutionary, that's the goal, right? Because we are always in a survival mode. We are never in a thriving mode. So if you are a caveman, you are in a survival mode. What's the least amount of movement you can do to get as much nutrition as possible, because nutrition is not easily available. So energy is scarce, and you have to conserve as much energy as possible. But now we are cavemen living in this modern world where we have access to abundance of energy and nutrition. And now we are still trying to conserve our physical activity, which is terrible. So we need to think big and see how can we include physical activity as a normal part of the life. Now, we gotta learn from our ancestors, right? Like how they moved. So when I say that we have technology, the movement out of our life, just think about how they used to sit, right? They essentially used to squat. Like imagine if you have to squat down and then get up to do something, there are people who normally will do 200 squats a day and not even think about it. They are not thinking about exercising. They are actually thinking about resting in between their activities. So they're just sitting, and when they need to get up, they will have full body get up and do something. Now, what we have done, instead of squatting all the way down to the ground, we sit on a stone or stool, right? That's a little bit worse. But then we sit on a chair, which is light backrest. It's even worse is sitting on a sofa. It's so cushioning, nice. It's even worse is being in a recliner, right? You're just sitting down. All your muscles are so relaxed. It doesn't have to do any work. And then we expect that, oh man, I'm not gaining the muscle mass. Obviously, you're not going to gain muscle mass because we're sitting on that recliner for so long. Carrying things are normal, right? Like we gotta carry things around or bending down to pick things up. That's normal. We don't need to use technology to get the physical movement out of our life. What do you notice in this picture? What I notice in this picture, that everybody is smiling, right? There is an intergenerational communication. everybody's lean, but they are not muscular. Humans did not evolve like we have this concept that our ancestors were like so muscular. I don't think that is true. Humans would be lean, but not that heavily muscular. Uh, but having an intergenerational communication and having physical activity as a normal part of the life can make a big difference. I hope you remember my story of don't be a sea squirt. It's funny, but it is very important story to know. So as you may know, a sea squirt is a bottom, like an ocean a tube-like feeding animal. It's a very primitive life. It's just a tube-like structure. The water goes in the one end, it comes out, and this sea squirt just extract nutrients out of it. So very simple life. When the sea squirt is born, it has a very primitive brain. It has a very primitive trail. So what it does, it floats at the bottom of the ocean floor and finds an area that has a higher concentration of nutrients. And once it finds that area, it just goes and sits on that rock. Once it sits on that rock, the first thing it does is dissolves its brain, and then it dissolves its muscular tail. And you wonder why the heck will sea squirt do that, right? Like why would sea squirt dissolves its own brain? But think about it. All the species live in a nutritional deficiency state all the time, right? Our current concept of nutritional abundance is very foreign, like it never happened in human evolution or any other species evolution. We always had to struggle to find nutrition. So if you don't have enough nutrition, you always have to save the energy. So you get rid of the things that are the most energy consuming organs, right? So brain in humans, it's only 2 to 3% of our body weight, but it eats up 25% of energy that we eat. Can you imagine? 25% of the energy that we eat gets used up by our brain. So if you are in a nutritional deficiency or scarcity state where you know that the nutrition is not coming, you now get rid of the thing that you don't use, right? So you first get rid of your brain, and then you get rid of muscles because muscles also requires a lot of energy to maintain. So guess what happens in humans? You're seeing those people. They retire, they go home, they sit on their couch, and then brain and muscle goes down. And 2 to 3 years, I see them in clinic with 10,000 medical problems. So our body evolved to move. So use it or lose it.